you got, I don't know, I put contour on my face and I feel like it caught right there. Oh, get out your coffee, get out your tea, go get a snack, something, because I'm sure this is going to be a long video because I like to talk and get off topic. I'll try not to, and if I do, I'll just cut that out. But I want y'all to be closer. I want y'all to be closer. This is going to be like Tana Mojo VidCon-ish. As y'all knew, because a lot of people, I've had some people saying, when are you going to post another update? Like, I just got hired from Dillard's. Like, you talked me into it. Like, I'm ready to go. I want to know. And so if y'all didn't know, I quit. I just said I quit. I never quit a job. I never quit a job so early. And I always have a good reason if I ever do quit a job, because I like, you know, if I'm going to be on YouTube, I would like to show y'all that I never just quit something. I'm always like full into it, 100%, trying to get it done, trying to be not nice, but trying to just do my best. And that's how I was raised. Always do your best, never quit, always try your hardest and everything. And so I'm going to start off to the beginning, going to try to do a recap. So if you've never seen my other videos, I do have other videos. I'll probably put this in a playlist of Dillard's. And but when I first applied, let's start there, because now thinking back onto it, I never put this, you know, I never clicked the two until now. When I applied for a manager job, and after I applied, I waited a few days and they told me, you're hired. You know, your orientation, or no, they didn't even say orientation. They said, you're hired, come in for a job interview, we'll talk about it, and blah, blah, blah. It was kind of like a pretty scripted email. So it was pretty much just like, you're hired, your application has been reviewed, come in for an interview. And so I was like, okay. So I went in for an interview, and as soon as I went in there, like, they said, we can't make you manager because blah, 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 blah. Either I wasn't, you know, I've never worked in Dillard's before. They want to make sure that I am Dillard qualified and all this other stuff. And I should have said from the start, if you're going to hire me or accept my application, which I made it a manager application, and I said, if y'all are not going to accept my application, why did y'all ask me to come in? If I wanted to be a manager, why didn't y'all give that to me? Y'all sent me an email, or corporate sent me an email saying that I was hired, I was approved, so why am I not manager? I should have said that right then and there. So when I went in and they told me that, I didn't make a deal out of it. I said, okay, whatever, I just want a job, I want to get paid, and just tell me where y'all put me and I'll just do my best. And they said, okay, well, we're gonna put you in accessories because like you have no other qualifications. And I told them, I put down I want to work in cosmetics, and I was licensed, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I'm just not licensed in Texas, but that doesn't matter. I told them, I was like, well, I really want to be in cosmetics. And they're like, nope, accessories. So I was like, oh well. And so went to accessories. Everybody was nice there. Everybody treated me nicely. There wasn't anybody being rude or anything. I had a nice time, you know, chilling with them for like the first day that I was there, kind of. And then we went to orientation the next week. So after I went in for my little interview, they're like, okay, well, and also during my interview, they never told me to bring my license or social security card. So they said, bring it to your orientation, we'll do it then. And so I told them, okay, well, I only have it memorized. I lost my social security card during the move, because like we've only been in Texas for like a month or two, or 4 months or so. And I was like, I don't have it, but I have it memorized. And I thought I did, and I had it like a letter off, and apparently I didn't, the background check didn't go through. So whoever had whoever social security number I put in, they were not approved. So I'm like, really? They took me out of orientation at this point, so I skipped a day of orientation, and I had to go, or not to the DMV, but the Social Security Administration. And when I got my number, because they can't give you, they told me the number, like, okay, well, this is your number, blah, 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 make sure you have it right when you go back to work, but we can't give you a, you know, temporary card or anything like that. You have to wait for it to go in the mail. Like, okay, understandable. I'm pretty sure my boss will understand it. I've never done this before, so I was like, okay, whatever. So I went in, showed them my license, and also showed them my number, and they're like, where's your card? And I was like, it takes like a few weeks to come in, but it's coming in. First off, it never came in, so I'm still wondering where my social security card is. So I'm kind of worried about that. And they told me, they're like, well, we never heard that before, meaning like they never heard that, you know, it takes 2 weeks to get your social security card. I've been told by a bunch of people that's normal. And so this one phrase that I hate that they said a lot was, that's interesting. And that kind of ticked me off, because every time they said that, to me, that's just like, you're lying. And I wasn't. They told me it takes a few weeks, and they're like, that's interesting. We never, and then another one, we never had that happen before. And I'm like, well, it's happening now. I don't know what else to tell you. And then they made the comment, we're not even supposed to hire you without either, or we're not even supposed to hire you without a social security card. Like, we have to have it. And I'm like, well, you have my license, you have my social security number, like, it should be fine as long as both things match when you look them up. I was like, that's my name, that's my information. And they said, well, this is technically not even a liable documentation, and meaning my ID, my license, my driver's license, that even cops use as a pretty good form of identification. And I was like, okay, well, that's my license, whatever. And so they were just being really sketchy. It was like they were trying to fire me in the first place. And I even told them, I was like, if you want to fire me because of a technicality, go ahead and do it. I was like, but I'm not going to deal with this. And I think that's the start of them not liking me, because if you're going to sit there and tell me I'm lying, and you're going to tell me that I can't even work here, or like technically I'm not supposed to be here, then go ahead and fire me. I told them I don't need this job. Like, my husband's a welder. Like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but yeah. And then she's like, well, tell me more about yourself again. So I told her I just moved here from Louisiana because my husband, he's a welder. Like, I'm just I want to get money because I don't want to live off my husband's paycheck. I just want to do me. I want to get a laptop and a camera and this and that. Like, I'm just here to buy luxury items for myself. And after that, she was just like, okay, well, you know, you can come back when we call you. So I was figuring they were never going to call me. But the next day, they're like, okay, well, your background check came through and your IDs match and all this other stuff. And I was like, that's cool, whatever. And so I was like, okay. So I came in the next day, and they're treating me like I was stupid because I missed a day of orientation. First off, the only thing that I missed was how to do the POS, which is I don't know, POS is like performance of system, I don't know. It's a system to where you click buttons, and it's pretty much, you know, it tells you as you're going how to do stuff. The only thing I didn't know was how to, you know, sign up somebody for a credit card, but I ended up figuring that out as I went. I just kept pressing buttons till I got there. And then, you know, I asked them, can I, you know, completely take off a receipt? And they're like, yeah, as long as it's not above $100, you can't, or above $500, you can't comp the ticket, or, you know, you can't, like, shut it down, or you can't void. You have to void $500 or under. And so I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And they told me, oh, and by the way, like, make sure that you sell a lot. Make sure you do what you need to do, like clean up and stuff, and make sure that you unbox everything and do your inventory and stuff, and then get your sales. So I was like, okay, fine. But then this guy teacher, he was trying to show me again, and he's like, make sure you put in, and I was like, okay, just show me and then I'll learn. Like, cause I'm a visual learner. Like, don't treat me like I'm stupid. Like, that's like you going to Walmart and you telling people, now you take this item, don't scan it like this, make sure this is showing, and make sure you put it over the thing, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, they were being that dumb, or not that dumb, they were treating me like that, like I was stupid. Like, at Walmart, you scan the item, go, if it's a vegetable, pick this and get that and go through it. But they were treating me like I was stupid, like I didn't know anything. And I kind of felt like they were being that way because people, not to say people who work at Dillard's is this way, but let's skip to when I actually started doing it. So when I was actually there for my first day working, there was people there that still would not, like, they would not get it through their heads how stuff works. And they would not, like, they were so out of it. So working there, I've noticed everybody was being weird, sketchy. So I just kept to myself. I did, you know, I'm not, when you're working, you don't work to make friends, you work to pay your bills. You work, you know, to get money. So when I started working there, I was making my sales. I was working as hard as I could. I at least sold like $1,000 to $2,000 a day, and my sales were always up. I started in January, and the whole year of your sales doesn't start until like February. So February is where you start, you know, everybody starts over. Everybody starts, you know, if they're at the bottom of the list last year, they're at the top of the list, or they're, you know, in the list, but they're not, you know, you're not ranked yet. So in January, I was at the bottom of the list because everybody worked there. Everybody was at 40 hours a week, and everybody was selling. I was like freaking out there for a second because I didn't want to get fired because I was at the bottom of the list, but I was still making my sales per hour, which was, my goal was 164, and I was at 220. And then when it came February, it went down to 170 because, like, you start all over. And the first 3 months, I was selling like 2,000 a week. So $2,000 a day. So I made at least I worked 30 hours, which I'll get to that too. I worked 30 hours a week, 4 days a week. And I also was selling about $2,000 a day. So 2,000, 2, 4, 6, I was selling like 8,000 a week. So I was doing pretty good, and I was at the top of the list from February all the way until I quit, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So, or no, January, February, maybe it was March that it started all over. Anyways, I was at the top of the list for a while, and I also noticed I didn't get my 3-month evaluation, and I kept asking around, like, the girls that got hired on with me. I was like, did you get your 3-month evaluation? They're like, no. And so I was like, I want my raise. So I asked the manager, I like messaged her because you can only message on the system. And I said, hey, realized that I haven't had my 3-month evaluation. When is that going to happen? And then she said, check with your department manager, which is like the manager for just accessories. So I went up to her, and she's like, oh, well, it's in May. And I was like, that's not 3 months. That's like 4 months from when I got hired. And I was like, that's not what they said, but oh well. And so she's like, well, if you know, want to, you can ask for, you know, 40 hours, and at least you get paid more, and it's kind of like a little raise. I was like, okay. So I asked them, I was like, this was like maybe January, February, this was like March that, you know, I started asking for 40 hours because I was selling, I was making my sales per hour. I even calculated it. There's like some calculation that you do to make sure that you can get 40 hours a month, or 40 hours, you know, work full-time, because like corporate, they calculate it and they say if you can or can't. And so I put in there, I was like, okay, well, I talked to my blah, 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 and she said that I can get on 40 hours, and they're like, okay, well, we'll talk to corporate. And so they said they sent the email to corporate, and they said they didn't say anything. So this other guy that was manager, he comes over. He's kind of like, it's a department manager, but then there's like a manager that kind of walks around the store, but then there's the store manager, which is like the big kahuna, whatever. But the guy that just walks around the store, makes everything, you know, chill and cool and calm, he was telling me, he was like, oh, well, you didn't get approved. He's like, you need to sell more. And I was like, I'm at the top of the list. Everybody else that's at the bottom of me is on 40 hours, except for like one girl, because she was still in school. There was like a couple of girls that were still in school. And I told them, I was like, there's people on 40 hours selling less than me. And I was like, so why am I not making as much as them? Why I'm performing way better than them? My numbers show that I'm doing better than them. Not to say I'm better than anybody else, or everybody's underneath me, or make me feel like I wasn't trying to be that person that thinks they're better than everybody, but I just thought it was weird that I was doing way more work, I was selling more, I was doing more, and I wasn't making as much as everybody else. So like, it was a wage gap kind of thing. And I knew that my work, I know my worth, and I know that if I'm working this much, I need to be on 40 hours. This girl is making way more than me and working way more than me, but she's over there on her phone. So why am I not able to get a raise when I'm working twice as hard while everybody's on their phone, twiddling their thumbs, talking, whatever? And I even started doing markdowns. Like the second month they called me in to do markdowns, and I was doing them. Sometimes I would overscan stuff, because like some things, like the style of watches or the style of sunglasses, look so much alike that sometimes you accidentally scan more than once. And I kept telling them every time they like got on to me, I was like, well, this style looks like this style, but they're two different things. So what am I supposed to do if something looks alike and I accidentally scan one? I started noticing coworkers being very weird, very sketchy. Sometimes, like, I don't have anxiety. You know, I just recently got checked for depression and stuff, and I don't have anxiety or depression. But do you know that feeling where you start to feel like a hostile workplace, and you start feeling like people are talking about you, or people are whispering about you, or in my case, they would speak Spanish around you every time you popped up, and that got on my nerves too. Like, I understand in West Texas, there's a lot of Spanish speaking, you know, customers and stuff, so it's understandable that they hire people who are bilingual. But I was not bilingual. I guess they thought I was when they hired me, because my name's Laura, but I told them from the start that I was not bilingual. But it started to kind of feel like it was a must-have. The more I started working there, the more I realized that maybe they just want bilingual people now. Because at the end of being hired, or at the beginning of being hired, there was a bunch of girls that were, you know, they only spoke English. There was like a nice, you know, ratio between different ethnicities, which I believe that's a really important thing to have in work. So like, there was some girls, there were some white girls, there were some black girls, there were some Mexican girls, there was all kind of races there. And that's what I like, is a nice workplace ratio of different ethnicities, because it creates a nice cultural feeling. But the more I worked there, the white girls were quitting, because they felt like, which I felt like, some of the girls who spoke Spanish or bilingual, they would start talking behind their backs, but like in front of your back. So you would have people look at you, like speak Spanish and look at you and then like keep whatever. I don't know. It was weird, because if you're speaking Spanish around me, you're hiding something. And like, even our department manager, she would start speaking Spanish, like she would talk English to whoever she was talking to, and when I walked up, she would start speaking Spanish, and it was like she was hiding something. And then like if she was talking to another girl that also spoke English, she would start talking to her, but when I came up, she would start whispering. And that, to me, that's a hostile workplace. It's one thing when I felt targeted and I felt like nobody likes me, and like I could literally hear people talking shit about me, and I'm not even gonna bleep that out. I could literally hear people talking about me, and I used to think that I was just paranoid. And you know how sometimes you get so like anxiety built up that you feel like you hear stuff but it's all in your head? No, I could literally hear them talking shit about me. Like they talk in their little areas like I don't hear it, and I could literally hear them. And that's when I was like, that was my start of I want to quit so bad, because I'm not gonna work here with a bunch of girls that just want to talk crap because they're bored and they have nothing else to talk about. Me, I like to keep a positive environment, keep everything nice, and so every time I like, you know, anytime somebody was talking about me and I knew it, or if they were like start whispering around me, try to keep everything positive. And there was like a few girls that I loved because they're like, I love it when you come to work because I feel like you're genuine, you're nice, like nobody, like you don't talk about anybody. And I was like, no, because I'm not here to gossip at work. I'm here to work. But it seemed like a lot of other girls were just there to like gossip, hang out, or whatever. And so I just kind of got sick of it, and I just kind of kept to myself a lot. And moving on from that, you know, it was like maybe April, I wanted to work at James Avery because I heard James Avery, you get hourly and commission. So if you sell like a whole bunch of stuff, you get like whatever money that month. And so I was like, well, that would be perfect. And so they're like, okay, well, we'll get you to test and everything. So they brought me in to watch the videos, and they're like, okay, watch the videos and come and get me when you're ready to test. I watched the videos, and I was like, okay, well, I'm ready to take a test. And they're like, oh, the guy just left. And I was like, so he knew that I was watching the videos and he just left? Like, one, that's unprofessional. Two, that was a manager that did that. So he left me high and dry. And he just like, okay, well, we'll do it the next day. So I kept bugging him and bugging him and bugging him about testing them, and I never got tested. It was like 2 or 3 months later, and I never got James Avery certified. So when it came down to one of the girls, like there was a main girl, she worked in James Avery. When it came down to her working, she was like the only person in James Avery. So she ended up going on vacation, and this is where it starts getting crazy. When she left, nobody was in James Avery. Nobody wanted to do James Avery. Nobody thought they were certified to do, nobody was certified to do James Avery. So everybody that took a test wasn't even certified. So people were basically, I don't know, to me that just seems like a false, they were giving false hope to everybody. Like, okay, well, you'll watch the video and you'll take the test or whatever. Some people actually had to retake the test, but they never did, and they never got to it. So that was another issue, is the managers not being on top of their stuff to make sure that everybody is approved, just in case if somebody left, somebody could fill in their spot. Nope, they didn't care. That person left, okay, well, just whoever going to James Avery. And so I went one day, it was just me, went into James Avery, and I was doing the charms, I was soldering, I was using the machine right, I was doing everything right. And then when it got down to the very end of the week and the girl was about to come back, I was cleaning up everything, and I had one more person to come and do charms. So I was like, okay, so I did their charms, and then I noticed like the machine wasn't working. This would happen to me, something breaks on the last day right before the girl doing James Avery came back. And this girl coming back, she was the type of person, when she came back, she wanted everything untouched. She wanted everything back to where she had it. So I understood that, I respected that, because it is her work area and she wants it clean. So I was like, okay. The machine broke. I don't know how. It was just like, there was like this little thing that you use and it kind of clamps on to the jewelry. So when you put it up to the machine, it works, because without the clamp, it would not work. So it's kind of like a safety thing, you had to have it. And the little wire connected to the pin had broken off. And so I tried fixing it because I needed to get this jewelry done. I couldn't just like call them up, hey, I did one charm but I couldn't do the rest because the machine broke. Because how would that sound to a customer? Like, I feel like if something's broke, you should tell the customer right then and there. but I didn't know. So when I started doing this and it broke and the thing just fell out, and I was like, okay. I don't know if it fell out because whoever used it before me, or if it just fell out because it fell out. So I was like, okay. So I tried taping it so I could just like get everything done. So I ended up getting the charm done, gave it back to them. I'm like, hey, if you know anybody else that needs to get the charm done, we can't fix anything else. It just broke. Sorry for the inconvenience, whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll tell whoever, because they had like some other relatives that got it. And so I was like, okay. So when the girl came back, I told her, hey, when I was using the machine, I noticed it was broken. I tried to fix it with tape. And I was like, but, you know, just so you know, like, I didn't mean to break it. I don't know how it broke, but it was one of those things that just happens. And so she's like, okay, you know, I understand. Okay, whatever. So after that, I was just like, you know, don't put me in here if I'm not certified. I was like, because y'all keep putting me in here, but telling me I can't be in here because I'm certified. So I got sick of that. And then after all that blew over or whatever, I just started doing the best that I could in there, and everything kind of like was forgotten. We all moved on. We all were fine, okay, whatever. And then I went back to the manager's office and I asked them, when am I going to, like, this is in May or April, end of April, and I told them, when am I going to be on 40 hours? And they said, well, you're not selling enough. And I was like, y'all told me I was selling enough. Y'all told me my sales were doing way better. My sales have done nothing but increase. I was like, so if you're telling me my sales have decreased, something's up. And I didn't say it in that hostile voice, but I just told him, I was like, well, y'all told me last time that I was good and that I should be approved. I'm like, and now y'all telling me I'm not selling enough? I was like, but y'all told me I was selling enough last week. And I knew the thing started all over, but I was selling way more in 3 months than I did 1 month. And she was just like, well, that's interesting. I swear, that'll be my first merch. But, if you want me to make merch, I will. Pre-order, you know. But anyways, I told them, I was like, I know what that sound. I was like, I know what those two phrases mean. I know it's one of those two phrases, like, interesting. Never had that happen before. I knew those were the two answers that were never gonna happen. Like, to me, that's just like a big F you in the face. So I went home crying. I told Josh everything. I was like, I really want this job. I really want to help with bills. I really want to help, you know, get my own things so we don't take away from our bills. I want to help us get more money. I want us to help pay the camper off faster or have money to get groceries and stuff. I was just breaking down crying because, like, it was really making me mad because I was trying my hardest, doing my hardest. People talking me down, people saying I wasn't doing good enough, or people saying that I can be in a place but I can't do anything because I'm not certified. I got sick and tired of asking for things and nothing happening, and to me that's just a very awful work environment. It was also a hostile work environment because there was people, like, I like to call it sharking. Even if I was with a customer, if I went to the back to go get something and I came up to the front, they would take it out of the cases, which you're never supposed to take anything out of the cases. You're supposed to go get it from the inventory and bring it up. The cases are just for display. But I've noticed there was like a few girls, if I went back to go get a purse, I would come back and they would already have that purse sold and that person had left because they took it from the case. And that to me was just awful. You know, first off, I would get blamed because, you know, the manager would see me with that person and then they would see that person leave with the purse, not knowing who sold it to them, but they would blame me because they saw me with that person and now it's gone from the display. So I would get blamed for it, and I told them, no, that person sold it. They are the one that got that sale. They are the one that took it from the case. and they would still say, interesting. And so I just felt like they never believed me, and I was just this liar, and I was like a pathological liar or something, and that just like, that got on my nerves. For me to keep telling people like the honest truth, tell them I didn't do it, it wasn't my fault, that person did it, wasn't me, and them still saying, interesting. And it's like, no, be like, okay, I understand. Let me go talk to them. Let me handle this. Let me be a manager and handle this. And it just got on my nerves. Like, and that's it. Okay, so now we're gonna get on to the managers. Managers didn't do shit. Managers never did anything. Never, ever. And it made me so mad because I wasn't good enough to be a manager because I never had experience. But the girl there was a girl that got hired 2 months before me, and when I started working there, so she's been there for 2 months, and so when I started working there, she was already a manager, and I was like, oh, you must have worked here for a while. She's a manager. You know, managers are normally, I was told I didn't have enough, you know, I wasn't special, I wasn't capable of being a manager because I didn't have any retail history, even though I worked in the salon for 2 years. And anyways, I wasn't authorized to be a manager. But this girl walking into Dillard's, just walking in, said she got to be manager after 2 months. So that irked me. That really got on my nerves. That really ticked me off. And then I started noticing that other girls, I was like, well, how long have you worked here? You know, like, aren't you on 40 hours? How long have you worked here? They're like, oh, I got 40 hours as soon as I stepped in. And I was like, what? And they're like, didn't you apply to work here full time? I said, yeah, I applied here saying that my schedule was open and I could work any time of the year, any time of the day. I was like, but I was still put on 30 hours, and I wasn't even put on 30 hours. They had me working 27 hours, just in case if I went over, which I never went over, because they would only have me working about 3 to 4 hours a day. And that ticked me off. If not, they would have me working maybe 6 hours for like 2 or 3 days, and I wouldn't work for like another 5 days. So like, that ticked me off. And I just thought it was so unfair that people were walking in, getting paid way more than me. People were also getting hired working 40 hours a week as soon as they came on. People were doing this and that. Weston, go! People were basically just given. Like, they just let them have all these hours. And I'm over here working my ass off, not making a dime. I was only making $300 a week while everybody else was making $600 a week. Everybody was working way less than me, but making more. Like, they were making double than I. And that just ticked me off. So I didn't even give a 2 weeks notice. I just didn't show up the next day, and I never got a call, nothing. One of the girls that worked with me at Dillard, she ended up calling me. I don't know if she did it just to get information out of me or whatever, but she basically called me, oh, did you quit or did you get fired? And I was like, no, I quit. Okay, hung up. And I just thought that was kind of rude. I don't know if she was at work and somebody had came up to her, but that just put a bad taste in my mouth. And I was like, you know what? It's all gone. It's done. It's set. Like, I'm never gonna see those people probably ever again, because I'm in Odessa and this was Midland, and it was the Midland Dillards. Midland Dillards. Yeah. So let's blow that up. Midland Dillards that treated me like that. And I'm not trying to slander or talk bad about Dillards. Dillards is actually a good company, but it's the managers and the people who work there that have given me more of a problem. People not like me, you only have two names, or you only have 2 things to yourself: your name and your word. If you cannot keep up with your word, it's a bad it's a bad representation of you. And when people are telling me, oh yeah, you can get, you know, you can get your 3-month review in 3 months, but I never got it, that just kind of irked me. But, you know, a 3-month review was supposed to say if you got high or if you got a raise or anything like that. People are getting raises and stuff at 2 months. People were getting being managers at 2 months. People were being department managers after 2 months. People were walking in being managers. People were walking in making way more than me. People were walking in making more hours than me. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So why am I working my butt off again, and I've been here for 5 months and I'm still not getting a raise? Everybody else is getting raises, everybody else is getting this, everybody else is getting the pleasures of getting benefits, which that was my main reason. I want to get on 40 hours to get benefits, but it so happened right after the open enrollment, because I had my 3 month, you know, you have your 90 days evaluation to see if you can be, you know, given a raise and stuff and on 40 hours. And so I told them, I was like, I need my 40 hours before 9 months so I can get benefits. And then they're like, oh no, that's not until May 5th. But they're like, make sure you do open enrollment when we do, or whatever. And then by the time, which they lied, open enrollment was in April, and they're telling me it's in May. So I missed open enrollment. And they're like, oh, well, you can't get benefits till next year. And I was just like, they were lying out their butts, but they were telling me, interesting. Never had that happen before. And it's like, I don't know. It just got on my nerves. I don't know if this is going to make sense, and it's probably not, but working there did not make any sense to me at all. I don't know. In this video, I'm probably not going to cut, probably just going to let it go on for like an hour, but I just thought it was weird. If you've encountered the same thing, let's get talking down below. I don't want to talk bad about the people that I worked with or anything, because like I don't want to do any names or anything like that, so I try to keep it with no names. And you know, I'm pretty sure they'll know, you know, I said their job position, so they're gonna know who they are, but I've never told them about my YouTube channel, so I don't know if they know. But yeah, that's what I had to deal with. There's just so many people over there, and there were so many people that just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know if it's just because it's Texas and the people in Texas are weird, or if it's just because I'm from Louisiana, we just do stuff differently in Louisiana. But me, everybody was just sketchy. And every time I tell the story, everybody's like, oh yeah, that doesn't sound right. Like, no. And then even when I went to Josh's, with their company party, because I told his boss, you know, he's like, you can make so much more in oil field. You can get laid off in the oil field, but if you do, you can make way more money working in the oil field than you do for a whole year at, you know, a place like Dillard's. Like at Dillard's, I made like $1,000 a month, but oil field, I can make $1,000 a week, if not more. Like my husband's making way more than me in a day. It's like, you know what, you need to get like an office job or like a secretary job in the oil field. They'll pay you like twice as much, if not 4 times, 5 times as much in a week than you work there for a month or 5 months. And he's like, you can make way more than them at Dillard's. And that's what his boss was telling me. He's like, girl, no. He's like, I would not do that much work and go through all that when you can just go to the oil field and stuff. But his boss is not hiring because he already has like enough people working for him, and he doesn't have anything for me to do. If anything, he's trying to find more things for his workers to do. So I understood that. Completely understood. His boss was telling me the truth. His boss was telling me straight up front, you know, okay, but I have nothing for you. Understandable. Dillard's, they will lie their butts off just to have people work for them. Or the Midland Park Mall Dillard's will tell you anything just to get you hired on. So it is worth it. Like, you do get paid a lot. If you need a job desperately, I would work at Dillard's, but you can always make more money working someplace else. You just gotta look for it. Right now I'm on LinkedIn Jobs. I'm trying to look for like other jobs, like kind of like secretary, office desk jobs just for now until we move back to Louisiana. I just want an office job, so if I ever do get too old for hair, I can go and be a secretary or do some office job or paperwork job for other people. So, you know, I'm looking for the long run. I'm looking for job experience other than just doing hair all my life. So, I'll do other updates if I do get a new job or if I end up working someplace else. Probably gonna stay here, focus on YouTube for a while because I have a lot of things I want to show y'all. For instance, this makeup look, which is a natural everyday makeup look. This is also good for like the beach and stuff and for vacation, something nice and easy to do. And then I did a tutorial on this hair. So if you want this nice, you know, loose wave looking hair, I achieved this with a flat iron, by the way. So if you want to achieve this look, just stay tuned. Again, if you want, or I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers because I have to have 4,000 views within a 12-month period, which we got 13,000 views in like the last year. So we're good there. You know, everybody's watching the videos, which I'm like so grateful for. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, which is like 900 more subscribers, or 904 more. No, 940 more, something like that. So let's get there. Subscribe, thumbs up, you know, leave a comment if you ever dealt with this madness, or if you've ever worked in the Midland Park Mall, Dillard's, you know, put your comments down below because I want everybody to know what I went through. And if you're going through the same thing and you feel like you're the only one, you're not, because I looked up there was like was it North Dakota or something like that? I don't know what it was, but there was another Dillard's, and even they said that they went through the same thing, and it was like in another state. So I'm pretty sure this is not the only Dillard's. Dillard's, they're very behind. They're very, I don't know, how they deal stuff and how they, you know, manage their whole business is not, like, they're still stuck in like the 1900s or whatever. So like they have old policies that need to be changed, and even their computer systems need to be changed because their computer systems are from when they first started, which is like 50 years ago or something. Like they have old POS systems that are slow and always need to be fixed, and just POS, like piece of shit, literally. So yeah. That's all you need to know about Dillard's and what I have been through. I'm pretty sure other people have different experiences that are way better, and I'm pretty sure like somebody's gonna comment, well, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. I did everything. Trust me, I did everything. And my sales raise goal, I was always above that. Like my daily raise goal is like 146 an hour, like making 146 an hour, which is like 1,000 a day or 2,000 a day. I was making like 2,000 or 3,000 a day. And my sales per hour is like 120, 170. Like if I didn't sell anything that day, it would be 170, but the next day I would make 120 again. And so I was making what I needed, and I was able to get a raise, and I was told I was able to get a raise, but I never got it. So yeah, so I'm just gonna end it there. I'm getting sick and tired of talking about this. I'm done. Thank you for watching. Bye.